Buddy, I have some bad news, but I also know how we can get brutal revenge without ending up behind bars. What happened next was the ultimate payback. I should have known something was off when Emma started acting strangely. We'd been married for 8 years, and while we weren't perfect, I thought we were solid. We built a comfortable life together. Emma was a senior consultant at a high-end luxury firm, and I was grinding away in the finance sector. Our schedules were hectic, but we always made time for each other, or at least we used to. Lately, things had changed. Emma was always on her phone, typing away with a smirk that used to be just for me. Date nights became an afterthought. And the late meetings, the urgent business trips, the way she'd come home exhilarated, as though she'd been living another life, it all seemed too much to ignore. I wanted to believe I was imagining things, that it was just work stress or a phase, but deep down, I knew. And it wasn't until one particular night that the truth hit me like a freight train. It was a Friday evening. Emma had just come home, tossing her expensive beige handbag onto the kitchen counter before heading for a shower. Something about the way she rushed past me, not even sparing a glance, made my stomach churn. Then I heard the low buzz of her phone from inside her purse. Normally, I wasn't the type to snoop, but something snapped inside me. My gut screamed at me to investigate. I carefully unzipped her purse, reached inside, and my fingers brushed against something unexpected, a sleek black box. At first, I thought it was makeup or perfume. But when I flipped it over and saw the brand Van Cleef & Arpels, a luxury jewelry brand, my heart stopped. Inside was a delicate gold bracelet, something Emma would love. But what made my blood run cold was the engraving on the inside, "For my beautiful E, always yours, M." I swear, for a moment, I forgot how to breathe. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. M? Who the hell was M? I heard the shower turn off. My hands trembled as I shoved the box back into her purse and stepped away. My mind raced. This was the confirmation I never wanted. Emma wasn't just distant, she was having an affair. But instead of confronting her right away, something inside me told me to wait, to be smart about this. And that's when my cousin Oliver called. Oliver and I had grown up together. He was more like a brother than a cousin. He worked in private security, which meant he had a very particular set of skills when it came to digging up dirt on people. When I picked up, I barely had time to say hello before he spoke. "Buddy, I have bad news, but I also know how we can get brutal revenge without ending up behind bars." I gripped the phone tighter. "What do you mean?" Oliver sighed. "I wasn't sure whether to tell you this, but I got some info today that you need to hear. Emma, she's cheating on you. And not just with some random guy. It's her boss, Marcus Davenport." I felt sick. Marcus Davenport, the CEO of her firm. A well-groomed, arrogant bastard in his late 40s with a reputation for being untouchable. Married with kids, but constantly rumored to be messing around with younger women at his company. I clenched my jaw. "How do you know?" "Because," Oliver said, "one of my clients is his wife's personal investigator. They've been tracking him. Your wife is just one of the affairs. But here's the thing, Marcus doesn't just cheat. He's reckless. And that's going to be his downfall." I felt a dangerous calm settle over me. "What are you suggesting?" Oliver chuckled darkly. "We're going to ruin him. And we're going to make sure Emma regrets every single choice she made." And just like that, the plan for ultimate revenge was set into motion. Oliver and I spent the next few days gathering everything we could: Emma's schedule, when she worked late, when she took business trips, Marcus's habits, where he went after work, the hotels he preferred, the people he met. Digital evidence. Emma's texts. Her call logs. Subtle GPS tracking to confirm her locations. Then we set the trap. We decided that if Emma wanted to live a double life, we'd give her a front row seat to its destruction. Marcus had a favorite place, a luxury hotel in the city where he liked to meet his women. With some strategic maneuvering, Oliver arranged for us to get access to the penthouse next to Marcus's usual suite. The plan was simple. Emma had told me she had an important business meeting on Friday night. I already knew what that meant, so I played along. I kissed her goodbye that morning like nothing was wrong, watched her get into her car, and drive off without a care in the world. Then, Oliver and I got into position. That night, hidden cameras were set up in Marcus's suite not just to catch them in the act, but to broadcast it to the right people. As Emma and Marcus met at the hotel laughing, drinking, kissing in the privacy of the suite, the footage was being live-streamed directly to Marcus's wife, his board members, and Emma's closest colleagues. But that was only the beginning. Just as things started heating up, Oliver made a call. A hotel staff member working with us knocked on Marcus's door. "Sir, we've received a security complaint. We need you to step outside immediately." Marcus, startled, wrapped himself in a robe and opened the door, only to be greeted by his furious wife and a small crowd of people, including 2 of his company's board members. Emma, half-dressed, stood frozen in terror. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, I walked in. Her face turned ghostly pale. "James?" she stammered, trying to cover herself, her hands shaking. But there was no escaping this. The consequences had arrived. Emma stood frozen, her hands clutching the silk sheets of the hotel bed, her face draining of all color. "James, this isn't what it looks like," she stammered. I almost laughed. The audacity. Behind me, Marcus's wife, Olivia, strode in like a storm. Her eyes burned with rage. Olivia wasn't ordinary. She came from old money, and while Marcus had always been the face of the business, it was her family's fortune that kept it afloat. She wasn't crying. She wasn't screaming. She was smiling. And that was far more terrifying. "Marcus," she said, her voice smooth as glass, "how do you think the board will react when they see this footage?" "Oh, wait." She turned her phone around. The live stream was still playing. Board members, shareholders, top executives, every single one of them watching in real time. Marcus went pale. He opened his mouth to speak, but Olivia held up a hand. "No, no, darling. I don't want to hear it. You see, I've been waiting for this moment. The moment you'd slip up so spectacularly that you'd hand me everything on a silver platter. And now I own you." Marcus flinched as security guards from Olivia's own firm entered the suite. "Sir," one of them said, "Mrs. Davenport has asked us to escort you out of the premises and inform you that your belongings have already been removed from the house." Marcus's face crumbled. "Olivia, please." "Oh, don't beg, Marcus. It's so pathetic," she said. She turned to me with a wink. "This is going to be an ugly divorce, but don't worry. I'll make sure it's public." Marcus's career was over before he could even register what had just happened. But I wasn't done yet. Emma was still sitting on the edge of the bed, gripping the sheets like they were the only thing keeping her upright. Her body trembled, but her eyes darted toward me. And in them, I saw something that almost made me laugh out loud: fear. She wasn't afraid of losing Marcus. She wasn't even afraid of being caught. She was afraid of what I was about to do next. "James, let's talk about this," I scoffed. "Talk like the way you talked to Marcus?" "No, Emma, we're past that." I pulled out a manila folder from my coat and tossed it onto the bed next to her. She frowned, hesitating before picking it up and flipping it open. Her hands shook violently as she read the contents. Inside were copies of every text, every call log, every hotel receipt, GPS records of her car parked at Marcus's penthouse, and expense reports showing company money being used for their secret trips. Emma sucked in a sharp breath. "How did you?" "I have my ways," I said, crossing my arms. "But what's important is that Olivia now has these documents too, and she's forwarding them to Marcus's corporate lawyers." "Oh, and HR. Because last time I checked, sleeping with the CEO while being promoted 3 times in a year is a serious ethics violation." Her eyes widened in horror. "James, no. This could ruin me." I smiled. Oh, I know. Marcus and Emma weren't just exposed privately. No, that would be too easy. The footage from that night mysteriously leaked online within hours. Headlines were everywhere: luxury firm CEO caught in scandalous affair. Corporate ethics violation investigation underway. Marcus was immediately placed on leave pending an internal investigation. The board, led by Olivia, unanimously voted to remove him from his position. His entire empire crumbled overnight. And Emma? She was fired. Publicly. The firm issued a statement condemning her unethical conduct. No other luxury brand would touch her after that. Her entire career, the life she had built by stabbing me in the back, was burned to the ground. A week later, I was sitting in my favorite CAF, enjoying my newfound freedom, when my phone buzzed. It was Emma. I let it ring. Then, a second later, I received a text from her. "James, please, can we talk?" I chuckled and deleted the message. Then I received another one from Olivia. "Cheers to victory. Let's have dinner soon." I smiled. That woman was ruthless. I had to respect it. As I stepped out of the CAF, breathing in the fresh air, I realized something. For the first time in years, I was free. No more lies. No more betrayal. No more wondering if the woman I loved was secretly tearing my life apart behind my back. Emma and Marcus had gotten exactly what they deserved. And as for me, I walked away and never looked back. Betrayal is a lesson. Revenge is an art. And freedom, that's the masterpiece. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. If this story moved you, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Lauren's Story. I've noticed that over 80% of you watch these stories but aren't subscribed yet. One simple click helps bring you more powerful tales just like this. By subscribing, you're not just following a channel, you're joining a community that values deep, meaningful storytelling. Let's continue exploring these heartfelt journeys together. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our next gripping story. And if this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support means the world, and together, we keep these stories alive.